Things heard and unseen. Welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and what was that? And this is my review for next. Nah, I'm out of here. Okay, now that I've exorcised the ghosts, we can carry on with the review. An artist relocates to the Hudson Valley and begins to suspect that her marriage has a sinister darkness, one that rivals her new home's history. The film opens with this statement: "Things I declare, things that are in heaven are more real than things that are in the world." This is by Emanuel Swedenborg. He's a Swedish pluralistic Christian theologian, scientist, philosopher, and mystic, and best became known for his book called The Afterlife, Heaven and Hell in 1758. And the reason why I read all that is because there's a lot to do with his book and the film, and I just thought, as that is the beginning, kind of opens, kind of setting the mood for you to understand what type of film you're watching, I thought I'd give you some history and explanation as to the film that you're going to go and watch. They don't do any explanation until you get into the film. I just thought that was interesting, so I thought I'd let you have that little bit of tidbit of interesting movie trivia. There you go. So we've seen this film before. It has a lot of reminiscence of Amityville, but it's definitely not as scary as Amityville. In fact, this film is 2 hours long, and I would say you could probably shave 25 to 30 minutes off of this film. That's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. Enjoy is a thin line. I find the film well crafted and put together, and the acting by Amanda Siegfried. I thought she was fantastic in this. I thought she really had that presence, that character. With what she was given in the script to read, I thought she was good at what she was doing. I felt her plight in this kind of broken marriage, and this it's kind of the story of this marriage that just keeps on degrading and degrading and degrading. And amongst that, we have this supernatural storyline as well, this history of this town, and obviously just by that, me reading that title and kind of what that book is about, you understand that there's a supernatural element to this. And so if I mentioned it in conjunction with Amityville, you kind of get where some of this film is going. I do feel like the film doesn't know what to do, which way to lean in the storyline. So it either needed to be a thriller about this marriage, or it needed to be supernatural and lean one way or the other. And this one, it tries to do a bit of both. It leans in the thriller, the storyline, and then it has a little bit of supernatural stuff, which was a little bit weird because right from the beginning, as soon as they move into the house, you get those kind of wonky things that start moving, and it doesn't like build up to it, it's just there. But then it never really goes anywhere until we get to that end kind of moment, and even then it's kind of an ambiguous ending, but it also is a clear ending. I did feel like this ending was... In fact, that's what I feel like about this whole film. It's not a fun film to watch. It's about an interesting marriage that is strained, and we see it get broken down in bits, and it just becomes more and more dark in like all aspects of this relationship. And you see people affected by it, you see the daughter affected by it, and so it's not a nice film to watch. It doesn't have a good air or presence by it. So when you get to that ending, I was expecting a fruition that would satisfy me, and this is one of the films that I've been most unsatisfied with. Like I said, there is a decent ending, but I didn't enjoy it. I was just like, meh. Is that how it is? Okay. So the film looks great. In fact, there are some spectacular cinematography shots. There's one particular shot that stood out for me. There was a barn shot. When you see it, you'll know it. It's just beautiful lighting, high camera arc working, looking down. You get some ocean shots. You get some creepy hallway scenes. There is some creepy shots like, you know, when you see a ghost, but it's just out of the corner of your eye. There's that. I think there was only one jump scare, and it kind of worked for the reason why they were doing it. And the rest of the time, it's just a supernatural presence that's there in this town that kind of believes in that, and you have the doubting husband, and then you got to figure out things for yourself. For the most part, I enjoyed the film for what it was, but I also wanted to be something else. I also wanted to choose a path. I thought the score was good, the acting was good, the script was okay. I just wanted the story to be different, if that makes sense. So I'm going to give it a C+. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about this. I'm going to talk about the ending. We're going to do spoilers now. So that is my review. It's a quick, short, sharp review. Hope you enjoyed it. Kind of gives you an idea of what you're in for. But let's talk about spoilers.
Is something wrong?
So this whole film is centered around this husband who seems like he's a serial killer. I mean, by the end of the film, he basically is. He took what we are led to believe was the identity of his cousin. And this is the reason why he sees that professor in the art gallery with his students. And the professor is so confused as to how he even managed to get a position, because he didn't give him a letter of recommendation because he didn't understand the art. Which is why when his wife says to him, "Don't don't you want to continue doing artwork? Because it wasn't his artwork. It's not his. He's assumed the identity of someone who is not him, basically. Not like the physical identity, but the expertise identity. And then as his secret starts to unravel, he becomes more and more unraveled himself. He also very quickly, just because his wife wouldn't sleep with him because his daughter is scared of the ghost that's in her room, he ends up sleeping with another youngster, which does make me wonder if there was more of that going on before they even arrived in this town, because he himself, the husband, brought up the story of there was a sexual something to do with the story that he put against someone else. He said they were against him, and that's why, because he brought it to attention. But even the fact that he brought that story up, I think might mean that that was with him before. So we have that. And then we see him push that woman off into the curve, and she ends up in hospital. And then we see, well, just before that, we see the professor that was his friend, but was telling him that he's going to get fired because his letter of recommendation was false, which he had made. And so these are all like the main spoilers, the main serial killer moments. I also wish that the ghost stuff would have lent more into it. They kept on kind of hinting at, we heard the voices like, I'm going to help you, the ghost's there for a reason, but they never really do anything, the female ghosts, except like slam a door and, lock the door to stop the husband from coming in, that sort of thing. But then we get to that ending where we've seen the husband kill the wife, which I was pissed off about, because I thought maybe that this whole thing we're going to have that big kind of fight sequence that you normally get in this type of film, and that the ghost would help her somewhat. That's what it felt like it was leaning to, and I would have been satisfied with that. The wife escapes the house, and the daughter escapes the house. The husband gets locked in with the ghost, but there was another entity, and I think we're led to believe that entity was the past ghost's husband. That was the evil entity, that he was hearing voices as well. So eventually we see him, he hears voices and he wants to go out on the sailboat. He pays that guy off and he's on the sailing boat, and you feel like he knows what he's doing. He just needs to get away, and he's kind of gearing himself up. Yeah, I'm not understood. Nobody hears me or sees me. I'm worth more than this. He had all those words going on in his mind. Then we see the film come back to the ring, where we have the two females together as one, and that was the whole thing. We have now the mother and the past ghost as ghosts join as one, and we see that picture come into frame as the sailboat is in the storm, and we see the storm and the spirits collide, and then it zooms out and it is that painting. And so that painting is kind of what the author had envisioned of what happened, what we expect happened, and that painting is exactly what happened to the husband. We believe that he died in the storm, I suppose. We never really see what happens, but it does feel like he, in that moment, heaven and hell, the spiritual reality. And that's what we are led to believe happened, which is why we had that kind of big Shyamalan reveal with the ring. The whole time the ring was there, and the two faces is like, oh, this was always going to happen. This was always meant to be. That once they became one. Now the husband is out of the picture, so hopefully the daughter can have a good life. But ultimately, it was just a sad ending. Now there's no mother and no father, left with the parents who didn't see what their son was up to, and all those other people got injured and hurt. Not a great story, but I guess more realistic one when you're dealing with the supernatural, spiritual stuff as well. So let me know your thoughts. Did you think that's what it meant? That's where it went? Thanks so much for watching this, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.